हरे कृष्ण, जय जगन्नाथ। आत्मेंद्रिय प्रीति वांछा तारे बोले काम, कृष्णेंद्रिय प्रीति इच्छा तारे प्रेम नामा. The desire to gratify one's own senses is kama, lust, but the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema, love. So, Atmendriya Preeti Vancha. We have our senses, this body, and they are driving us. So, whatever it asks, you are trying to give. That is kama, lust, kama. Krishnendriya Preeti Icha Dhare Prema Nama. But if the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema, love. Once Narada Muni had gone to Dwaraka, and there he saw Krishna in his palace sleeping, holding his head, and everybody were around him, and he was having headache. People were asking what happened. Krishna said, I am having too much of headache. So there are so many people trying to go and help. So Narada Muni asked, what is the remedy? Krishna, please tell what is the remedy. So Krishna said that if some devotee, if my devotee, if he brings the dust of his feet and put on my head, then I can get out of it my headache. That's the remedy. So Narada Muni took up the task. Krishna is having headache and there is some solution. Let me go and search the devotee who can give. So he went and searched many devotees. He went to many temples. He asked them, you are devotee of Krishna, Narayana? They said, yes, we are very nice devotees. We are Krishna's devotees. We are Narayana devotees. Then Narada Muni asked, can you give the dust of your feet? Lord Krishna is having headache, and if he puts the dust on his head, then his headache will go away. So the people who are there, they said, no. How can I give my feet? I will go to hell. We have to take the feet of the Lord on our head. That is devotion. How can you put your leg on the Lord? That is not devotion. No, I can understand. But Krishna is having a headache and he is asking for this. He said, no, I cannot do. So Krishna, when Narada Muni went on searching like that everywhere, he went from place to place and finally he reached Vrindavan. So when he went to Vrindavan, he met the gopis. He met Radharani and other gopis. So he told them, Krishna is having a headache. So Krishna is having a headache. So let us go, let us help him. So he told, no, there is a remedy. The remedy is very simple. Krishna wants his devotees' dust on his head to be put on his head, and then headache will get reduced. He said, yes, please take. They were village girls. They were moving around in the fields. For them to get dust is not difficult. They can put on their head. They can very easy. So Narada Muni asked, do you know to whom you are giving the dust? He is the Lord, Supreme Lord Narayana. If you give dust, then you will go to hell. He said, they said, first you go and take the dust and cure Krishna's headache. We don't mind going to hell. So we don't mind going to hell, because for us Krishna's cure, his happiness is more important than we going to hell. We are happy if he is happy. If he is unhappy, we are more unhappy. You see, the love for Krishna, this is real love. Krishnendriya Preeti Ichcha. Their love was only for satisfying Krishna. Generally, when a young boy and young girl, they come and meet each other and they speak of love for each other. Oh, I love you so much. They'll say, oh, we also love you so much. What do you like? So I like a special ice cream. Which flavor do you like? Oh, same flavor I also like. Oh, then we both have a very nice understanding. We like same music, or we like the same novel, or we have same emotions. I think we should come together and we lead our life together very well. See, even in material platform, some philosophers like Pluto, they call some platonic love. So it's also an imagination. There is nothing like pure love among a boy and a girl until they take up a responsibility, and in relationship with the Lord, they can have true relationship, how to progress together in spiritual life, making Krishna as their center, and they have children, and that is love for Krishna. The husband and wife have proper understanding, that is also real affection for each other. There are some great so-called or admirers of love in the history of humanity, and they claim to be the greatest lovers. They came together and they were ready to die, or some people even died for each other because they never could give up each other. So if you see, there are a lot of novels, some historical incidences where they have died for each other. Isn't it that called love? Isn't it prema? No. The Vedic literature says, no, it is not love. Why? Why it is not love? Because the body is finished. The moment your body is finished, you forget everything. Then after that, if you are having a human form of life, then you again take birth, and again you may take birth in some other family. Your lover may take birth in some other family. What is the guarantee? Again you may meet each other. Suppose you meet each other, you have to identify each other. Even if you identify each other, and again you have to go through your education, again you have to earn, you have to become a businessman, or your successful occupation you should have to take care of everything. Then you meet each other, and suppose you have again love for them. Then what will happen? You have to marry. And after marriage, how long you can be saying, I love you, you love me? After love, what is there? You have to have children. And then you have to take your children to schools. Then the same love when you are having before as a college boy and girl, now you are a married father and mother, you cannot have such kind of romance. You are different, you have responsibilities. You have to earn money, and after that you have a duty to make them grow, and after they grow you should see to that they have a proper job, and again they get married. By the time you become old, then your love for your wife or for your husband decreases day by day, day by day. It is more for children now. You share that love. with now children. 50% of that love for husband generally transfers to the children. There is no guarantee, but some people say like that. So when it goes, then husband sometimes feel neglected. No, responsible husband doesn't feel, but sometimes they feel neglected. And what so much that hankering that you love me, I love me. Now it is their own blood, their own DNA, with their child is there. So the love has to be transferred to the third person. So this love of what we are thinking, Atmendriya Priti Vancha, I love, you love only your own senses. When you are saying I love somebody, actually you love from you, your point of view. In Vedic literatures, the love is more considered as a duty. In the modern terminologies, the love is associated with rights. The whole Indian civilization, the Vedic civilization, speaks about duties of father, duty of a child, duty of a king, duty of a citizens, and the moderns, our civics, civil laws, they talk about what is the right of a husband, what is the right of a child. There are child rights, especially in the Western countries. You cannot scold them, you cannot chastise them. In India, if in the village there are teachers holding big cane, and if they don't follow something, the older generation, children, they knew how they used to beat them left and right, and they used to get rectified also many times. Of course, there is a difference of opinion. It's not that everybody have to be beaten like that, but they used to get rectified. Now we cannot scold children or beat children. They have you have to give them due respect. Definitely you have to give due respect. Giving respect is not denied. But they are all children. After all, if you have to chastise them, means you have to send them, make them do some work, menial work. You cannot keep them with egos, false egos, right from childhood. You are such and such man. You are such a great child. You may pamper children to make them do some good work, but you cannot pamper them in such a way that after some years they become totally useless children. They don't know how to respect parents, they don't know how to respect their neighbors, they don't know how to respect their friends. Such kind of useless kind of upbringing we are growing in this world, all in the name of love. If we are saying we love my wife, I love my husband, I love my son, actually you only love yourself, because you cannot help your wife or your husband, you cannot love your son or daughter and give them proper life. But in the Vedic civilization, it is very clearly saying, don't become a friend, don't become father until you can help them. That is love, that is responsibility. The real love starts when you are trying to help somebody. You cannot have love only for yourself. That's why when we say, he is my brother, she is my sister, he is my son, she is my daughter, that my aspect is so strong. That is there even for animals. What is so great? Even animals take care of their children. The difference is, if there are 10 bread pieces thrown to animals, Every animal thinks I only have to go and grab it. It doesn't think my other animal who is there next to me, let it also share. Whereas a human being has a higher sense. When there is something given in a family, immediately the elder family member wants to give to their children. If there are few good friends, they'll take something and they'll feel, oh, I have to share with my family, with my friends. This is civilization. Our scientists are having so much of advancement of technology, industrial revolution. How this world came up? It came up some 40,000 years back with one kind of civilization, 20,000 years back. It came up, we were doing this, that, we made up pyramids. After that, the human civilization much more came in the later centuries. And last 500 years back, there was industrial revolution. And now we are going to the space. And we have a lot of advancement now. What is the result? We don't have oxygen to breathe. Delhi is the highest polluted city in India. Software capital city in India, Bangalore, which was called Garden City, no more remains a garden city. Now it is the most polluted city. It is competing with pollution with the other cities. 500 years back, industrial revolution didn't happen, nor there was air pollution revolution also. Everybody could breathe free air. After corona pandemic, we have heard in certain places they sell steam. Like that, when the polluted cities they are selling oxygen. You can go and sit for fresh air. Natural air was there. Everything was going on nice. There were nice food available. Now we talk about advancement of civilization. What is the advancement of civilization? You do so much, you take control of the nature that you spoil so much, so then we go and search for other planets. Let us go and spoil the other planet also, because we have so much of love for science that I can go to the other planet and spoil that planet also. So now we are having space expeditions. Our own Earth, which was 500 years back, without industrial revolution, people were having proper food. So we may say, no, so many people were dying with so many diseases. We have done a lot of advancement. We have developed higher diseases. We can create disease and we can spread it also. And we have biological weapons. We can kill more people. So we are more advanced than 500 years back. True. This is the kind of civilization we can have. And what is love doing nowadays? Oh, those days, they are very orthodox, very conservative. So, a man and women cannot come and talk to each other. That is what mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is saying, Krishna, if there is a war and people die, women will mix up with men, polluted men, and they may lose their character. They may easily be cheated. Varna Shankara is created. Unwanted population will be made. Previously, suppose they want to have a child. It was not a secret. A man and women could come each other by a proper arrangement at a proper time. There was something called Garbhodana Samskara. There were samskaras. If you are an advanced human being, samskaras you have to do. Samskara means purificatory processes. Actually, it starts from vivaha, marriage. After marriage, there is Garbhodana Samskara. Garbhodana is a man and women come together for having children. It's not a secret. And they have proper consciousness. Like in the spiritual organization, they are advised to chant the names of the Lord. Our Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he told the husband and wife can chant some extra rounds, and then they can come together, and because their consciousness of a man and a woman, it affects the child. And that child, when he comes out with the same consciousness of a father and mother, a father is a gentleman and a mother with a good heart, when they come out, you can imagine what is the character of the child. He can change the society, he can influence the society. Whereas a man wants to somehow cheat the women, and women want to cheat a man. And their nature is feeling, I want to enjoy this fellow, I want to enjoy this fellow. Only two people are trying to compete only on their senses, and they don't have any kind of thing for their future or consciousness. That was not Garbhadhana Samskara. So we have right now, why we have to have marriage system? Because marriages are a failure. It's a fact. In a lot of our families, in India also now, marriages are a failure. They are mostly based on social platform, because there is no basis for marriage. Marriages were made for a certain purpose. There was a duty for a human being. Marriage was not just a ritual. They had a duty. Nowadays marriage means, a rich man means he makes a marriage with pomp and show, and how much of money you have spent. Some minister had spent some crores of rupees, and later income tax people came and raided him. Like that there are many cases. They make such a huge show. I have so much of money for my daughter's marriage or my son's marriage. So rich man wants to show how rich he is in his marriage. And a poor man somehow wants to get daughter married so that his headache will reduce. Somehow my burden will reduce. But both of them, they had a duty in the Vedic age, that the responsibility of getting marriage is to help each other. Husband and wife is to help each other to progress in their spiritual life, to understand God and make their children grow in a proper consciousness, to make them proper citizens. And even in this own life, in their own life, when they are practicing their occupation, they can go back to Godhead in the same life. So they can become Jivan Muktas. They are liberated even while living. So this spiritual progress is possible when husband and wife have such kind of higher duties, higher responsibilities. Then that becomes love. It's not that the marriage system is a failure. So the next system is what? Become a cat or a dog, and you can lick them up. Just like a dog is made sit on a singhasan, on a throne or on a sofa. You have dressed him up like a human being or like a king. And you know how dog licks the shoes. When the moment the master comes to the house, the dog goes and licks his shoes. So you make a dog a king, or you put a king's dress. The moment it sees some shoes, it will come down and lick. So the nature will not change. The conditioned soul nature will not change. So whether he is married or unmarried, it will go only for sense gratification. The tongue, the senses are demanding, I want this, and you keep on supplying, and do you think that you will become happy by that? No. It is said that you are doing tapasya. But why are you doing tapasya? Tapasya means austerity. You are aradito tapasa kim. You have to do tapasya. Aradito means you are doing aradhana for whom? For Krishna, for Hari. Naradito Hari tapasa kim. Aradito Hari tapasa kim. If you have to do tapasya, it is for Hari, for the Lord. If you are not doing for the Lord, for whom are you doing tapasya? It's all waste. So whether you are a yogi, you are a sannyasi, or you are whatever, But these are all waste of time if you are not able to use it for the Lord. So this kind of attachment of having a loose character is not called love. It is only you are trying to love yourself. Atmendriya Preeti. Atmendriya Preeti Vancha. So this Atmendriya Preeti is Kama. Atmendriya Preeti is Kama only, is lust only. Why it is called lust? Because you are ready to do anything for lust. Generally there are a lot of paramour stories. Paramour story means husband and wife, they have got married. But the wife doesn't want to be with husband. She has one more boyfriend. Or husband and wife is there, this husband has one more lover. This is paramour loves. So one such kind of paramour story, it's a real story. So she had 2 children. I think she was a divorced or whatever. So she had a boyfriend. In the Western world it's quite common. She had a boyfriend. And the boyfriend and this lady, they were meeting each day, every day. When they are meeting every day, this lady was saying that how her children are always behind her and they are troubling her. So she cannot come and meet him like that on a daily basis. So the boyfriend influenced that lady that how long you will be carrying your ex-husband's children. You should get rid of them. You remember what and all those fellow has done for you? You should get rid of that fellow. There should be no memory of that fellow in your heart. So as a mother she thought for some while. Then she thought, maybe my boyfriend is right. I have to get rid of these children. So what kind of mother she should be? She is thinking of to get rid of the children. Doesn't happen with every mother. Mothers are very kind. But there are also some criminal people like this. So she planned how to get rid of this child. And this boyfriend and this lady, they planned that they have to go on the bridge in the car and she will jump away from the vehicle and the car will slip into the bridge, from the bridge, and it can go down. So he planned and she took the vehicle and actually she drove so fast, and when the vehicle went so fast, the children were thinking that the mother is going to the tour, they are taking to the tour, so they were all enjoying. Oh mom, so fast, so it's nice, more fast, more fast. So she was driving full speed. At a certain moment where they had planned, she suddenly jumped from the car and the car flew high from the bridge and it fell into the water. She planned in such a way that she closed the door and she jumped off. And the windows are closed and children are crying. Mom, they are crying, mommy, and the water is there flowing down. Water was going inside the car, blub, 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 like that, it is going down. And when she saw the car had gone inside, she said, over, my task is completed. What my boyfriend has told, I have done. So where is love? Is this called love? This is only love for herself, for her boyfriend. So modern day says that no, this is not a real problem because you are talking about something which is affecting the society, because they are grown up and she is killing me, that's crime. But what is wrong, if you kill a child within the womb, the child has no consciousness. It's just some tumor. It's a tumor inside. There is no sin. To kill a tumor inside, you have got some tumor on your head or your hand, or so you remove. So you get something in your stomach, you remove it off. There is no sin. So when our Acharya heard this, Srila Prabhupada heard this, he said, these are all set of fools and rascals who are ready to do anything for their own sense gratification. They are ready to kill anybody, even a child in the womb. Mother is the one who protects a child right from the womb. If you imagine, mother itself becomes a murderer, a killer, who else can give us protection? Mother is so great that she protects the child. In India, there are incidences during floods that the mother was carrying a child, holding it in water. It was holding in water and the mother was inside the water when she was walking, the water was flowing up. It was holding the child on the top, and somehow the child was living and the mother had died. A lot of newspaper cuttings like that, how the mother had saved the child during lot of devastation. Devastating experience. We see a lot of floods would have happened. In all these kind of cases, the mothers actually have sacrificed their life for their children. Not only in India, any part of the world it happens. Mothers actually do the best for the children. I am just quoting few incidences where they became so greedy or so selfish about themselves. It doesn't happen with all mothers. Mothers are great. But if you see, mother is great, but we are all educated now. We are all so educated that by our education we are learning that it's all right, that we can date each other. It's all advancement. We can love anybody. Loving means what? You have sex with the other person and there is a child, and that it's a botheration. So there are fetus, not even developed, aborted fetus lying in the drains, and it's become a big business. Abortion business is a very big business. So the modern age, what has been taught to us in the Vedic literatures, in our culture, that we have to control our senses, not for thinking that, oh, I have been restricted. No, you don't have to restrict yourself. You are not, the Vedic civilization never says that you should not have sense gratification. The sexual life is allowed in Vedic civilization for the purpose of progeny. For having a good children, it is allowed. Nobody says that you should not have affection between husband and wife. The Vedic civilization actually encourages the wife to have so much of attachment to her husband. And that's how they used to marry each other. Right now the child marriages which are enforced in this material world, anything you bring a policy, the purpose of it is lost after some time. Nowadays, you can have internet access for children, and nowadays so much of openly, vulgarly things are shown, as we are all modern civilization. In those days, it was not like that. The idea was when they were teenage only, during the teenage, after puberty, the girl used to get married, and her first partner in her life is her husband. And the moment they come to each other at that stage, they have such kind of hard knot tied within their heart, that affection, that love. So whole life, even though they may be fighting, they will never forget each other. So that was the purpose those days, that they used to marry during their teenage only, after puberty. The real aim is always lost. Nowadays, marriage means it's only a contract. In Bhagavatam and in other Puranas, it's mentioned that how marriage will become a contract, and by dress you will be identified as a doctor or a grahastha or a spiritualist. It's only external appearance, nothing internal. And by growing hair, you will be thinking that you are beautiful. Lavanyam keshadharanam. So beauty is only based on long hair. Sometimes they used to ask Srila Prabhupada in the Western countries that why do you have shaven heads? So Prabhupada said shaven heads is to have cool brains. We don't have to worry what kind of hairstyle we have to do, this side. And we don't have to worry about our beauty. So we don't have to think, oh, I am beautiful. As a monk or as a spiritual practitioner, we don't have to worry about what kind of beard I am keeping, what kind of moustache I am having. Better shave up. Be clean. This is a sign of cleanliness in the Vedic civilization. You clean up. Only for sages, for ascetics who are staying in the forest, they had matted hair and they never cared for any social life, not like a big beard and a big matted hair, and we are doing a big business. That we are very great spiritualists or like that. It was not such kind of business. It's not that everybody with big hair are business people or everybody with shaven heads are great transcendentalists. That is not the meaning. The idea is that in Kali Yuga, in this age, Lavanyam keshadharanam means you grow hair and think it is beautiful. Everything is a contract. Everything is made up like that. So, the real love is for my senses. The real love is not for other person. It is not meant for helping somebody. In the Vedic life, each and every small aspect had a meaning to it. Once a great king with his family, he had gone to a pilgrimage place and he was traveling in a garden with his family. And when he was moving around, he had come with all his entourage, like soldiers, everybody were there because king has come there. So they were all moving and having a talk with their ministers and all. Meanwhile, the princess, maybe she was a teenage girl, she was moving around and she was playing with their friends. She was playing and she noticed in a garden that there was an anthill. And in the anthill, she saw some glowing worms kind of thing. Two lights glowing within that anthill. So children are curious. So what she did, she found some stick nearby and she went and put towards that anthill. The moment she put that, blood started coming from there. Actually, it was a sage who was meditating inside, and this girl, without her knowledge, she had gone and poked. So blood was coming. So the immediate reaction was, all the king's soldiers, they had some problem. They got some bodily symptom, bodily reactions. So because he was a sage who was meditating, and the king came to know that there is something happened. Something has happened here. There is some offense happened to some great personality, or the nature is showing there is some reaction here. So they all ran. The king came to know that daughter has done something. It was an old sage. So he was very angry. So the king went and begged pardon. The sage asked, "Is your daughter married?" So the king came to know that this sage is very angry. How to pacify? He wants an assistance now. So he got his daughter married to the sage, fearing some curse may happen to his family, to the daughter. He wanted to save his daughter. He got her married and he left. So this girl started very faithfully serving her husband, old sage, in the forest, taking all kind of pain. Although she was a princess, she accepted the sage as husband. She was not thinking, "Oh, I have put into the situation, what will happen?" When the sage saw that his wife was such dutiful and she was working so hard for him, he saw that this body is not suitable or attractive to this princess who could have become a queen. So he thought of having a very nice body. So after all, this body can be changed by treatment. So of late now we also take treatments, body makeup can be done and so many things can be done. So those days there were also such kind of treatments, even more advanced treatments. So he was a very powerful sage, and there were Ashwini Kumaras who actually knew how to treat this. They once approached this sage because they were denied share by the Devatas in the sacrifice. So this sage said, "I can get you that, provided you can give me a young body." So they agreed. So they took him, dipped him in some lakes. These lakes were like nectarian lakes which could bring out dirty body to a very handsome body. So when he came back in such a handsome body. He was also appearing to be one of a great Gandharva or a demigod. He also appeared to be as one of the administrative gods. They all appeared together same. And they all claimed to be, "I am your husband." But this girl who had got married, she was a very chaste wife. And she passed the test and she could make out her husband. After some days, the king returned back, who had got her daughter married. And when he saw from the distance, he saw his daughter is standing with one young man. He became very upset. He got married to some sage, and this girl has ruined her family name, her character, her education, and she has given up that poor sage and she has married some young fellow. So he became very angry. He came and started scolding his daughter. "What kind of person are you? What happened to that poor sage? What did you do to that sage?" And she was laughing because she knew she has not done anything. And she said, "Don't worry, my father, this is your son-in-law only. And he has changed his body, he has got a fresh body by treatment." See, even in this world, in the Vedic history, The wife had so much of attachment to husband, even if he was not meant, qualified, or in such a way handsome. So there was a purpose in Vedic life for love, attachment, even though they sacrificed their senses for serving the husband. So they were so great, they were so powerful. There are many incidences of pativratas or people chasted women. That there was a woman who was so powerful that she could stop the rising of the sun because she had a curse. She had a curse, knew a curse that her husband will die by early morning. So she stopped it. And the three deities had to come. They got pleased with her. They came and they helped her to get her husband back, and so that she can again make the nature run as it is. So they were so powerful. So the love of sacrifice for others' sake actually was higher love than to sacrifice yourself for your own senses. People say I love you means they mean that I love myself. If you love yourself means how much are you ready to love for them? For their sake, what are you ready to do? A husband who is very dutiful, not that he will go on keep doing whatever his wife wants, thinking that I love my wife is asking me to do that, I will do. No, a rightful husband knows what is good to my wife. Similarly, a good wife knows what is good for my husband. If my husband is going in a wrong direction and he is speaking that you love me means you should allow me to smoke, you should allow me to drink, you should allow me to beat you, she should not allow. That is not love. If you may be sentimentally attached to your husband, but you should help him, you should rectify him. If required, give him nice punishment. That is real love. That is not love, that is real affection. It's a path for love. Whereas modern day love means like you scratch my back, means nowadays, oh you are very good, you pat on my back. Oh you are also very good. Both are just patting themselves. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. After that we are separated. We are separated. First boyfriend over, second boyfriend over, third boyfriend over, second girlfriend over, 10th girlfriend over. That was girlfriend, boyfriend, or one marriage, two marriage, three marriage. Where is love? Whereas in Krishna consciousness, in Vedic consciousness, what they say love to Krishna, to Narayana, to Rama, to Jagannath, what is love means without feeling anything, they just go and sacrifice their life for them. They don't think anywhere. There was a devotee of Lord Jagannath. His name was Bandhu Mohanty. So he, due to some troubles in his village, and there was no food in the village due to some floods or some other problem, natural disasters, he had some problems. So he didn't find any food, and he was poverty stricken, and he thought, what can I do here? Let us go somewhere else. So she asked, you don't have any relatives, where shall we go? He said that I have one friend, but we have to walk very far away. So they used to stay many hours away from Jagannath Puri, and they started walking towards Jagannath Puri and finally reached. They reached the southern gate of Jagannath Puri temple, and they are waiting near that gate. And she said that, why are we waiting? Let us go and meet your friend. So he said, my friend is having some function, looks like that. I'll go and see and come. So he entered into Jagannath temple from the southern gate, And he prayed to Jagannath, Jagannath, you are my only friend. You are Jagat Bandhu. You are my only friend. I don't have any other friend than you. Please protect me. So he went inside and he came out, and his wife asked, have you met your friend? He said, I have met my friend, but it's very crowded. We cannot go now. So what we will do is, this Lord Jagannath's Mahaprasadam water will be coming out. That Mahaprasadam Goshala, from the southern gate, there is some water coming out. Let us bring this starch water which is coming out and let us sleep. My friend will help me definitely. So they drank some water and they slept. In the night, the Lord actually arranged a golden plate filled with his prasadam. And this devotee was sleeping. Lord woke him up as a human being. He came in an ordinary form as a regular human being. He woke him up and gave him that prasadam, and he disappeared. So he enjoyed prasadam with his family, but later he came to know that the people inside, the priest came to know that there is some golden vessel of the Lord is missing. And that was found in the southern gate by the soldiers, that this person is having this. So he definitely should be a thief. And he was arrested. And when he was arrested, he was more put into trouble. He thought, my Lord Jagannath, I came to you because you are my friend, but again I am put into more trouble. So Lord Jagannath never gives up his devotees. He actually came in the dream of the king and told, O king, he is my devotee, he is my friend. He has come for me. So the king realized he is doing a great mistake, and he released him, and he gave him whatever is required, his opulences for him, and he took care of him. So you see how the Lord, he is personally taking care of him. He is not thinking, oh, he has come for me for some other purpose. He is always, and the devotee is always thinking, I want to give something for Lord Jagannath. He is my friend. Love is without selfishness. You always want to give love. The other person should be thinking, what can I give to them? That is love. There are 5 principles of love. It is mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. If you do 5 things, love increases. What is that? Dadati pratigrinati. By giving. By giving gift, offering, by giving and sharing. Then sharing secrets. Guhyate prichyati. These are all connected to love. When you offer to the Lord bhoga, it is not that we are thinking, I want to eat it. A devotee, he may prepare so many items. It is not, the goal is not only I will eat it. The goal is how I can please the Lord. In Alarnath temple, near Jagannath Puri, there is a story of a Brahmana. He was every day offering hot kheer, sweet rice to the Lord. And once he had to go out of station for some work, and he told his son, my dear son, please, you have to do this offering, this ritual. So when the small boy, his mother made it and gave him the kheer. So he went to the Lord, kept in front of him, and he said, oh, my dear Lord, Narayana, Alarnath, please take this food. And Lord was seeing, and for him, what is eating? For the Lord, eating means he can see and he can eat. He can eat in any of his senses. Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti manti. Angani means any anga, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, hands. We can eat from our hand and put it in the mouth. and our tongue, teeth all together, we chew and we eat, then it goes to the stomach. That's called eating. And after we eat, nothing remains. Suppose you have 10 ladus, you eat, it doesn't remain. But for the Lord, Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Angani Yasya means all our angas, anything. Like if you go to when you are in a college boy, we were also as students thinking, we offer 1 kg of halwa to the Lord. The Lord should have eaten at least 5 grams. Let us measure it. So if you ask some priest or professor, so sir, where has the Lord eaten? They will scold you. But the reality, what is mentioned in the Vedas is, the Lord can eat, and because He is absolute, He can still keep that prasadam there even after eating it. Otherwise, how His devotee will eat the remnants? So this small boy doesn't know that. So he was crying to the Lord, my Lord, my father has told me that you will eat, so you should eat. So the Lord was very pleased with the innocence of the devotee. So He personally took and He started eating. So after that offering, and the mother asked, child, where is that prasad? So he said, mother, actually the Lord has eaten. So then mother thought, oh, my son wants to eat, so he is saying like. So 1 day over, 2 days over, 3 days over, not even 1 day the kheer is coming back. Mother complained to father, and father asked the child, where is the kheer, where is the prasadam? So he said, no father, really the Lord is eating. So the father wanted to do a test. So he went and slowly noticed what was happening. So the Lord, as is usual, He was trying to eat the food. And when He was trying to eat the food, it was so hot, and He came to know that somebody is trying to see Him, and some prasadam, hot kheer, fell on His body, and that small marks are visible on the deity, which the priest shows to the devotees when they go. There is some marks. This is a story of that place. So the Lord is seeing the devotion of the child. That is love. The love means, the real love means Krishnendriya Priti Icha. The devotees, they are always wanting to show love for Krishna. This is real love. Pandavas had great love for Krishna. Similarly, the Gopis had so much of love for Krishna that they were ready to give up anything for Krishna. They were not thinking, if I love Krishna, I will get something. They were always wanting to dress nicely, thinking what I can give for Krishna. Krishna will be very happy if I am dressed like this. Not that you have given me a rose, I have given you my gift, I have done so much of investment on you, and now you are rejecting me. So a boy will throw acid on girl, and girl will cut off that fellow hand. There are so many stories in newspapers that a boy goes and kills the girl, and off late there are other kind of stories. The boy who wanted to marry a girl, and he told the girl, now my parents have arranged a marriage. So this girl went with some goons, and she cut off that fellow's legs, hands, threw near some river, and she came back. Such kind of violent so-called love stories are running nowadays. This is not love. What is real love is mentioned in the Vedic literatures. Atmendriya Priti Vancha Kama, Krishnendriya Priti Icha Prema. So we should be after Krishna Prema. We should be after real Prema, real love. Once you have that love, then nothing can shake you in your life. Thank you very much. Jai Jagannath.